Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you all doing? My name's Amanda Ellis, and a very warm welcome to this channel. In this video, we're going to look at some coping strategies for when or if we have to face disasters in our world. It is being done on the back of Hurricane Helene in USA, which has caused massive destruction and devastation to people's lives. I'm very aware that, of course, many other places around the world also have huge disasters, whether natural or man-made, and people have to cope with the fallout of them. This video is intended to be timeless, so even though it's being done on the back of Helene, please refer back to it or dip into its wisdom and its coping strategies and what wants to come through from Spirit. And by Spirit, I'm particularly talking Archangel Metatron and Jesus. Also have the energy of Merlin here, and very much the dragon energy as well. The dragon's coming in strongly to help us cope. Because the truth is, without wishing to scare anybody, wherever we live around the world, we are in a changing landscape. We're in a changing world. And I believe very strongly in teaching and trying to show empowerment and sovereignty versus the energy of victimhood. So whatever happens, however it occurs, what you tend to see is very strong people coming out to lead their communities, heroes that are in your midst. You may very well be one of them, and you'll be called to action to help people in their hour of need, and maybe your hour of need as well. Because staying in an energy of victim consciousness, whatever happens, doesn't serve you going forward to rebuild and regenerate and move into the next stage of your life if you're intended to stay here, okay? So, I have got a few notes which I'm going to refer to, but I think actually a good way to maybe start this video off, or I'll also say I'm going to be looking at Merkaba in this video and reminding you of the power of it to not only keep you safe, but the truth is, if it's your time to go, it's your time to go. But invoking Merkaba around you in the time of greatest crisis, and I'm really talking about, some of the pictures that we've seen in the news of people stranded on their roofs with the raging floodwaters around them. You don't get much more of a crisis point than that. That type of scenario, invoking Merkaba, can do one of two things. It can either keep you safe if you're intended to stay here, or if it is your time to go, it can, by its very nature, it is Merkaba means light body vehicle. It is a structure that you have around yourself to carry you to different places, to different planes, to different realities, to different times. And it can carry you in great safety across the Rainbow Bridge. If it is your time to go, and only if it is your time to go. The other thing I'm being shown by Metatron with regards to Merkaba is that, in a way, it's a bit like your own personal spaceship. I mean, I have done videos on this before. I'll link it below. It was done a long time ago. I also do teach about Merkaba in my Metatron Level 1 courses, which are about to start up again soon. I'm not trying to sell you anything here. I know people are in trauma and in need. I'm just saying that I have done work on this before, and there will be future work to come. There's a lot I want to get through in this video, but for now I'm just reminding you of Merkaba energy and the fact that with Archangel Metatron, you don't need to know the ins and the outs in terms of how to invoke it, how to activate it. Ask him to activate it and help raise your vibration, even in the face of the greatest fear, to one of being able to stay in your heart. And if you're able to stay in your heart, your Merkaba field will be able to activate, and you will be carried, as I say, either to safety or to where you are next meant to be, okay? Because I believe we are all eternal souls, only on this planet for a very limited period of time. Whether you live to be 10 or 110, it's still a very short passage of time that we're here. But anyway, I'll maybe reference back to Merkaba later in this video. I'd like to start with this email. I won't say your name and I won't give away anything personal, but it did come in and it's prompted me to do this video, so I'm just going to share what I can. So this is somebody who's been following me for quite a long time, and she says, I'm wondering if you will be able to share a video or a post about the disaster itself. It's being compared to Hawaii and also Hurricane Katrina. What I've gathered so far from on-the-ground reports on social media, and apparently what's not being reported in most of the legacy media, is the huge scale of devastation with only minimal government help or assistance, and instead the direct intervention of FEMA, which is the US Federal Disaster Relief Agency, to actually prevent citizens from rescuing others. These are unreported, unconfirmed accounts on social media. I have to just say that before we go on. Slashing tyres of truckers bringing in supplies, threatening arrest of citizens flying in via helicopter, seizing donation funds, etc. People are reporting huge numbers of bodies floating down the rivers, hundreds of unidentified bodies in hospitals, people being left to die in places where the roads are gone or inaccessible, gross underreporting of the number of deaths, intense pressure on survivors to sign documents to sell their land at far below cost, to name a few aspects of this unfolding human disaster. And of course, in the air is the idea that this storm was anything but natural. And at the centre of the storm in the Asheville, North Carolina, is an area that sits on top of a huge lithium deposit. And of course, lithium batteries, or lithium, is something that's needed to fuel the electrical car revolution that they would like us to be implementing. So she goes on, but I won't read any more of it because it gets a bit personal, but what she basically wrote to me is what I had already been picking up from watching social media myself, and also watching mainstream news, and also going into my own heart and intuition and just feeling for, does this feel right? Does it not feel right? And more than anything, how can we help? How can we help? How can I be a voice? How can I help people that have either gone through this, are going through this, or God forbid, it could come to a town or place near you? I know it's not the end of hurricane season, for example, in USA, but, you know, if you're not in USA, you might be in other parts of the world that are experiencing extreme, let's just call it extreme weather, you know, whether it be through flooding or fire. The end result is one of devastation. How do we cope with that? How do we come together? What can we learn? So let's go then to a few of the notes that I've written down today on this so far. We're going to pull some cards. We're going to pull in some Ascended Master energies. One of the videos that I saw, which I thought was very, very poignant and also inspiring through its bittersweetness, because death is not the end. Okay, so death doesn't always have to be the greatest tragedy, because death leads you on to just the next stage of your eternal life. That's what I truly believe. But there was film of, I think it was a mother and her friend, who was talking about the loss of her little boy in the waters. He had sadly drowned. And I think she witnessed it, God bless her, and God bless him. But in his moment where he was just about to be pulled under and did succumb to the waters, she's talking about the fact that he didn't call out for her, he called out for Jesus. And there's just something very, very powerful about that, because children are here to teach us as well. So in his crisis point moment, this little boy, I think he was under the age of 10, maybe 7, 8, I think he looked, I don't know. But I think he held up his hand and he called to Jesus. Now, in that moment, Jesus would have been with him. And also, I believe that whatever you believe, whatever your Godhead looks like, whoever you pray to, whoever you believe in, whichever of the ascended masters, Jesus, the archangels, any of them, they will come to you in your hour of need. And Jesus absolutely would have come in and swept that child up. And people always will say, well, why couldn't Jesus have saved him? Because the mother's now bereft and lost. But you have to see things from a place of soul contract. You have to understand that, for example, with regards to that little boy, he had contracted to only come to this earth for a specific period of time, and probably to teach what I'm talking about now, to share what happened in that final moment. And also that in that moment, he wasn't alone, he wasn't abandoned, he was safe in the arms of Jesus, basically. So, and also Jesus is omnipresent, as all of the ascended masters are, I believe. Metatron certainly is, that's what he's always taught me. So he can be there for the little boy, but he can also be there for the mother left, bereft. Okay, so we must always remember that. Another thing that I thought, just practical tip to share, which I thought was worth sharing, is, I can't remember how this, who shared this. It effectively was a list of things that were needed. I think a list of things that were needed. Here we go. It was on Facebook, Hurricane Helene Airlift Relief. And they basically put up a list of things that they were looking for. They needed donations for. And I thought that list could also teach us something. So let me just try and read out what is on it. I'm now wishing I had my glasses to hand. Hold on, sorry, apologies. I've got no time to, here we go, edit this. Right. So it's things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily think of, but which are important. People always think of the basics, which of course are important in a disaster. Food, but particularly fresh water or something to drink. But these are some of the other things. So batteries, and this could be things to maybe stock up on if you are in an area which is prone to disaster, okay? And I'm talking particularly weather, which can also be, I don't know, landslides, volcanoes, doesn't have to be via hurricane, but just we're in a very volatile world right now. And the truth is that Mother Earth will do what Mother Earth needs to do as well. So anyway, here we go. So charcoal, lighters and lighter fluid, although you'd have to be careful storing that, wouldn't you? Don't want a flammable situation in your garage. Batteries, did I say that? Tarps, rope, baby food and bottles. I've always thought, if anything were to happen here, would I have enough food for Bella? I mean, she'd have to end up eating our stuff, of course, because I'd never see her starve. But have you got enough pet food in reserve? That type of thing as well. Medical supplies, bin bags, tote bags, water, gold bond powder and cream. I've no idea what that is. I'll just read the list because some of them are quite surprising. Denture cream and cleaner, contact solution for eyes, like contact lenses. I mean, I suppose I would think, well, you just put your glasses on, but maybe some people haven't got glasses. Maybe they only have contacts. I don't know. You need to be able to see. Cleaning supplies, sports drinks, hydration packs, baby wipes, nappies or diapers, bug spray. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. Bug spray, sunscreen, absolutely. Plastic utensils, trash bags, toothbrushes, toothpaste, feminine hygiene products, absolutely. Sanitizing wipes, blankets, bed linen, that type of thing. So it's just really thinking outside of the box. I thought that was a really good list and worth sharing. I also saw a video, again, many videos saying the similar thing, but one guy, he said, I really believe this, he said, it's not about left versus right. It's us versus a government that doesn't care about us. And right now I'm hearing that song by Michael Jackson, They Don't Care About Us, coming in very, very strongly. You know, just listen to the words of that. They don't care about us. And as I say, this isn't an attack on the present US government. This video is intended really for the whole world, because wherever you are in the world, we can see examples of our governments not caring about us, not putting our needs first, or the most vulnerable in our society's needs first. I'm going to do a video after this one on the UK government, so that's very much in my mind as well. But yeah, you know, the most vulnerable, the people in the greatest need, not the government not necessarily being there quick enough, speedy enough, or in big enough numbers when they're needed. So yeah, it's not about left versus right. It's us versus a government that doesn't care about us. That quote from JFK, excuse me, came back to me this morning. It's not what your government can do for you, it's what you can do for your country, or something like that. It's not what the government can do for your country, it's what you can do for your country. I felt for a long time that the change and evolution that needs to come into government across the world has to come in from the grassroots up, okay? And we have to start demanding change and demanding what it is that we need, rather than blanket acquiescence and subservience and putting up with it and staying quiet. Peaceful evolution and revolution, really, is what I'm talking about. And it's about communities coming together, is it not? And it is during these times, as I say, when you see what community actually means, and you get the people rising together, coming together, being there for each other. And I don't know if it's true or not that, you know, people were being told to not go and rescue. I mean, the stories abound, aren't there, you know, of... I think I saw one which was linked into some sort of helicopter pilot who'd rescued a wife, and then he wanted to go back and rescue the husband who was either on a mountaintop or a roof, I don't know, and he wasn't allowed to go back and fly. Whether he did or not, I don't know, but there's other stories like that, not necessarily involving helicopters, but maybe just trying to reach somebody. You know, there's that thing, isn't there, about the law and justice, and it only works if it is seen to be fair. And in a situation, put it this way, you know, if my child or somebody else's child was stuck somewhere and there was a red line you cannot cross because you're not allowed to, but I could see that I was able to go and rescue that child or that person or help, I would, and I'd face the consequences later. So, you know, maybe I shouldn't say that in a public forum like this, but it is what I know I have within me. And I think many people have got that within you rather. This thing about obedience of the law. I'm one of the most law-abiding people out there, to be perfectly honest. I've always abided by the law. I've never broken the law. I've not got no criminal record. I don't intend to have a criminal record. But equally, if you can see something which is just blatantly wrong, then you have to cross that line and do what is for the greatest good in that situation, which is saving a life. I also feel an energy coming in of these times. There's a resurgence of what I want to call real men, and I don't want that to be offensive to anybody, but it's just the return of traditional values, the return of the protector-gatherer type energy, which was always the male role, biologically and historically. Go back to Stone Age man, you know, it's this thing about, it's the hunter-gatherer, it's the protector, particularly of those who are more vulnerable. And I think you're going to see a rise of the more traditional male figures in these hours of need. And that's not about control. It's not about the patriarchy coming back with a vengeance. It's none of that. This has all got very, very confused. It's just to do with men who have more physical power. That's the truth. They have more physical power to be able to, I don't know, lift the logs out of the, a fallen branch or fallen bit of tree across the road. They're going to be able to do it better than a woman in most cases. Shoot me now if you think that's wrong, but I'm sorry. That's what I truly believe. I know because I see it in my own life. If there's something that needs lifting in our garden and I can't do it, John will always be able to do it because he's a bloke and I'm a woman, So, and it shouldn't be offensive to even say any of this stuff. It's just got ridiculous. But anyway, so the return of the traditional male, but also the return of the traditional female. And what I mean by that, again, I'm just going off some of the raw videos that I've been watching. And I know I'm going to be attacked for this video, which is like, oh, you're just believing everything you see on social media. You cannot fake real trauma. Okay, some of the videos, and this is why they want to get platforms such as X banned. You got Hillary Clinton coming on saying that social media is the danger of the age. That's very recent that she's just done this video and trying to get various platforms shut down. Make no mistake about it, they are trying to shut down platforms of free speech. The videos that I have watched, I can't speak for all of them, deeply traumatized. Older women in particular, older than me. But again, you can't fake it. The trauma is in their eyes, it's in their body, it's in their whole energy field. But what they're doing is they're rolling up their sleeves and they are getting out there to whatever they've got in their larder, to if they haven't got power, they can't bake something, I suppose. But I think she was talking about just cutting up lumps of little cheese and a little bit of wine or something that they'd got left over. I mean, good for them, and just sharing it with whoever needs it. It's this role, it's this natural role that women have, which is to nurture, which is to care for, which is to be there for my neighbour. I'm not saying men don't have it as well, but I'm really feeling a return to these traditional values as well. Okay, I'm going to pull a rune. I'm going to pull a rune on Hurricane Helene, and let's just see what there is to say. Okay, what wants to come up? So, thinking about Hurricane Helene, the devastation, just any guidance, please, Spirit. What is it that you wish to bring forth? Okay, we have this one, which I will look up in my little book of runes, is the rune of disruption, which would make sense, wouldn't it? So page 129, let's have a look at what it says. So its elemental power is linked into hail. I'm reading from this book, The Book of Runes by Ralph Bloom. It's to do with change, freedom, invention and liberation. Drawing it indicates a pressing need within the psyche to break free from constricting identification with material reality and to experience the world of archetypal mind. This rune, the rune of elemental disruption, of events that seem to be totally beyond your control. This rune has only an upright position, and yet it always operates through reversal. When you draw this rune, expect disruption, for it is the great awakener. Although the form the awakening takes may vary. Wow, so it's the rune of disruption, the rune of awakening, the rune of freeing us from the constriction and the identification with material reality. I mean, I've not been through it, but absolutely I can see that would be the case. If you, and I've seen this actually, I saw another clip of some people who were, well, there's no roads to walk on where they were, but they were just trying to get to the place of refuge or safety. And they'd got this one woman, she was a young woman, she got a backpack on, and she got a cat with her, a kitten or something. And she said, if you take the cat away from me, I've got nothing. It's this thing about, I know what's important. I've lost my home. I've probably lost my job. I've lost all the material things, but I've got my cat, I've got my dog. I've got my child. I've got myself. I'm alive. I'm reborn. This wasn't her words, it's just what I'm channeling. I'm reborn to the true meaning of existence. All of this material stuff that we place so much whatever on is nothing. And I'm again, I saw something this morning, which I'm realising I want to just link into this video now. I won't name who this person is because I've never even heard of them. I have no idea who they are, but it looks like it's some big influencer, streamer, young lad. And he's in a car crash, but he's on his phone streaming himself driving the car, which is illegal anyway. Anyway, he crashes the car and he's pulled out of the car. And the first words he says are, oh my God, my car, my car. There's no thanks to the people that save him. There's no thought of his friend who is in the back of the car, who is bleeding profusely and in need of medical attention. It's just all about my car. Oh my God, I've damaged my car. It's extreme, yes, but I'm using it as an example of where we're at, you know? Most of the people that watch me, that would not be your thought, of course, in that scenario. But he is a manifestation of what is in the collective, that my car, my house, my whatever is the most important thing. And of course it's not. So this rune is, as I say, to do with breaking free from the material entrapments of this world. It's called the Great Awakener. It's about disruption. It says, however, disruption takes many forms, but do not be dismayed. Whether you created the disruption or whether it comes from an outside source, you are not without power in the situation. Your inner strength, the will you have funded until now in your life, provides support and guidance at a time when everything you've taken for granted is being challenged. Yes, and it's really interesting, those words, isn't it? Let me repeat them. Whether you created the disruption or whether it comes from an outside source, that to me, in the context of what we're talking about, is about whether you believe this is a man-made storm or whether you believe it's a natural phenomenon, is almost immaterial here, in the sense that what this rune is trying to teach is that you are not without power in this situation. And that's what I meant about not being a victim. Even if you are a victim because you have lost your home, I mean, it's horrendous. There's no getting around that. Absolutely horrendous. Your life is forever changed. But you are not a victim because you have that power and that will to live and that tenacity and that hope and that strength that lives within you. And nobody can take that away from you, ever, okay? And it's that strength and it's that power that is within you that helps you to rebuild, yes? But we rebuild together. We rebuild as a community. And what I'm being shown by Metatron now is that I don't know whether this is just specific to some of these places in North Carolina, or I think it's a more general teaching, but I'm just being shown groups of people who have nothing. So, their homes are gone and they rebuild as a community. And it's the complete antithesis of what is being planned in some quarters. I'll put it this way, I'm trying to articulate this, how I'm seeing it, how I'm being given it. On one hand, we have the way that, I just want to call them powers that would like the towns and cities of the future to be, which is very tightly controlled, very regimented, very inorganic. So I'm seeing lines, and I mean, I was actually quite surprised when I first visited New York. I'm not dissing New York, great city, but I come from the UK and our cities and our towns are they're quite sprawling, they're quite organic. There is a centre, but if you've been to London, for example, it's all a bit higgledy-piggledy. And when you're in New York, it's like these rigid lines. And, and I was like, whoa, it's really for me, it was unusual. But I'm seeing us going back to a more organic type setting, which isn't overly architecturalized, if there is such a word. It's not about what somebody else has as a vision in terms of how we should live in neat little rows. And I'm now seeing suburbia, which we do have in the UK, neat little rows of Barrett houses or whatever, and your tiny little bit of land that belongs to you. okay, that's one scenario. But on this other scenario, which is where the people have to come together and they rebuild because the help isn't coming. Okay, and this is where, you know, the traditional skill set comes back. And I'm not saying women can't help to build the walls, because they can, but it's like it's within the DNA of men to build, okay, and to show the way, and for women to join in, yes, but equally, I know I'm going to get myself into such trouble with this video, but the men also need a good meal at the end of the day of the building. I'm now being shown, and again, I know they're not perfect, but something like the Amish, you know, and maybe the way that, again, it's middle line, remember, violet pill teaching. I'm just throwing things out here which are other templates, they're other examples. It doesn't mean we have to go from, you know, 21st century New York skyscrapers to living as the Amish do. No, but there's something to learn from both templates. But I'm definitely feeling a pulling together of the community and a rebuilding. Okay, let's... I will pull a couple of cards from this deck, which is the Whispers of the Unsolved, which is a sort of like a... Well, I don't even know how to describe it. It Whispers of the Unsolved. Okay, I'm just going to pull a couple of cards and see what wants to come out with regards to Hurricane Helene. And I'm not going to even ask a question. I'm just going to see what would like to come through as any messages to be put out there at this time. I'm going to take 2 cards from this half of the deck and then 2 cards from the other half. There's 80 cards in this deck. 80 cards in this deck. Wasn't there a film about 80 days around the world, or have I got that wrong? Hold on a minute. 80 days around the world movie. I'm being shown that movie. 80 days around the world. Don't know why I'm being given that film, but oh, bless him. I love David Niven. He's in the original one. I'm going to watch the original one. Why am I being shown this, David, then? 80 days. Round the world in 80 days. Yeah, it's something to do with... let me get my globe. I've said this before. I don't believe, by the way, in the singular flash that changes everything, which is doing the rounds at the moment in the spiritual community. It's not dissing anybody else, but I've said many times I don't believe it's going to be just a singular flash of light. But I do believe in a sweeping movement of change which goes around the world. Does it go around the world in 80 days? And when do those 80 days start? Well, I'm being given it today for some reason. We're also coming up to the 1111 portal, are we not? We're also coming up to the 1010 portal, are we not? I don't know. I'm hearing 80 days. I'm being given 80 days for some reason. So I don't know what happens. Maybe something happens in 80 days, but I'm also feeling it's to do with something sweeping the world in 80 days. Because I'm always a glass half full girl, I will always go to the highest timeline scenario, which is that this is something good, okay? And this hopefully, maybe this is people standing up, people saying, you know, people standing up basically for themselves. Anyhow, let's go back to this deck. 4 cards. Hurricane Helene. The first card that comes out is the affluent, wealthy, upper class. Who... let me just pull another card before I get that. I mean, I will say what I'm going to say, because down the rabbit hole. No, I am going to say what I want to say. What do I want to say? Sorry, hold on a minute. Where was I? Yeah. Is it just me, or let's put it this way? hypothetically, my friends, if this was engineered in any way or strengthened in any way, and yes, the technology is there to be able to do that, that is a fact. Is it not rather convenient that we may have situations such as this, and I fear others to come, which are taking the news off the release of 2 lists recently, or a list that is to come? I'm talking about the Pidy List. That Pidy List, I mean, we have to be very careful what we say, because I've seen, lists circulating online and it's got everybody under the sun named, and some of those people will be innocent, okay? Some of those people will just be, I've been invited once and I said, no, thank you. So we've got to be very, very careful. But put it this way, if even half of them were guilty on the list, it is a paradigm shift moment in terms of, wow, who can we trust? Who can we believe in? Who are our role models? And the problem is that many people don't want to lose the grip on the old. They don't want to. Ego is refusing to see what is in front of them. And I have said 6 months ago, I maybe said it a year ago, I've said it a few times, that not only do we have to be flexible during these days, that all of our worlds are going to be rocked, but by the end of the awakening ascension process, there isn't a single person on this planet who won't have become disappointed or disillusioned with somebody that they used to look up to, in terms of, oh, I thought they were, they were this, but actually, oh my God, they were doing that. Yeah? Nobody, myself included, nobody. So rather than pointing fingers at each other and saying, oh my God, you used to like him or her, don't you know that they're this? Just go within and integrate and process your own disappointment, because there's going to be a name that links to your reality that's going to be shattered. Yeah? And then we're there for each other. Yes, so that's what those 2 cards to me mean. That it's an awful thing to say distraction, because it's, I know it's real and it's happening and it's devastating. But put it this way, I'm being shown by Spirit, they want you to look there rather than look here, okay? They want you to look over there, not here. Okay, so that's the first 2 cards. Let's see what else. Hurricane Helene. The first thing I wanted to say was that it feels as though where some of these events are happening is in poorer neighbourhoods. I mean, I've no idea, I don't know any of these places in America which are being affected, but it seems to me as though they're quite humble places. And so, anyway, we've got hidden missing, a key, Hurricane Helene. Oh, okay, so that is literally the numbers being reported are being deliberately kept lower than they actually are. There are many people that are missing. The true scale of it is being hidden. And the last card, which I will take off the bottom of the deck, but I'm also going to take that one peeking out because that's a positive card, and my God, we need it. We've got anger and rage. The people who have been left swimming in their own, effluent-filled, body-filled rivers should rightfully be raging. I would be. But it's holy anger that's needed. It's not anger that hurts another because hate begets more hate. It's allowing a moment of holy anger, because the next card is strategy. Strategy. What are we going to do with this anger? Are we just going to swallow it down and pretend that it didn't happen? Or are we going to do something? What are we going to do about this? And at the moment, we don't have the answers, but the answers are going to come from coming together and community, okay? We've also got the card of high vibes. Keep the vibes as high as you possibly can. The sunflowers. Sunflowers always reach for the light, no matter what. Okay, let's pull 2 cards from this pile. Hurricane Helene. Anything else to say, please? I'm being drawn across the road. I'm just looking at my neighbour's roof, which has got a skylight. And I'm just seeing somebody hanging, well, not literally, I'm being taken somewhere in America where someone's hanging out of a windowsill, looking for the relief that isn't coming. There's still people struggling. This is still a live situation. And there's still life that can be saved, is what I'm hearing. Yes, as I said, there is still life that can be saved. Look at that, I got the yes card. We've also got the justice card, karma. Karma will come to those that stand by and do nothing, that deliberately turn their back. But this is also linked to government. I think that, there's been a lot of stuff, hasn't there, about what is the October surprise? What is the October surprise? I'm feeling the October surprise, well, it's linked into lots of things, but I'm really picking up a weather-related thing. Not just here, but maybe in the month to come. I think there's going to be more storms, more hurricanes, more events. I'm particularly focusing on USA here. And it's as though the government will be called to account for the way that they behave during this period. They truly will. And I almost want to say it's beyond almost who wins at this point now, because I feel as though whoever gets into power, put it this way, if the party gets into power who haven't maybe responded in the best way possible, they will still be called to account, because people have got long memories, is what I'm hearing. People have got long memories. I, in my old life, used to be a market researcher. And one of the things about market research, when you get those surveys, well, maybe they don't even exist anymore. Well, paper surveys I'm talking about. You get them electronically now, don't you? And you have the scale of how satisfied you are from 1 to 10. The thing is, people that tend to fill out those things tend to be the ones that are either very disgruntled or very enthusiastic. What I'm seeing is, put it this way, if you feel as though your government hasn't been there for you when you really needed them, you're going to make damn sure, come hell or high water, you will vote. And I think there's that element has not been accounted for. Ain't no mountain high enough to keep me from you. What is you? The ballot box. Okay, right. Let's see what else. Let's pull a few dragon cards, and also I want to go into a couple of the Ascended Masters. So firstly, I'm going to go to Merlin. This spray it's called Merlin's Woodland Brew, Nature Spirits Portal Spray. It's very powerful. It just links into the elements. I'm just going to use it and see what I get. I don't know. So Merlin, my ears are burning before I've even sprayed. I'm asking for guidance here for people watching linked into natural disasters, thinking about Hurricane Helene, but similar situations that could occur, are to occur. I realise I'm doing this with my nose, but I'm feeling like the rabbit, the rabbit that's... this again is the lead of the animals. Animals have a sense. They know. You've got to watch your animals. You've got to sense what your animals are doing. I'm talking about people who are maybe on particular fault lines or areas where, maybe you can see there's a storm incoming. It's being reported, but it's not going to be so bad. But if your animals are playing up, your animals are your teachers, your animals are your friends. Take notice of how they're behaving. They are like an early warning system, is what I'm hearing. And I'm being shown the rabbit for some reason. Now, the thing about rabbits is they burrow, don't they? They burrow under the earth. I'm also being shown the safety of the tree. Now, I know, of course, a tree can literally fall down on you and crush you, but hear me out here. So it's a bit like with the energy of Merkaba. If you understand what Merkaba is, this electromagnetic field that is around you that can be activated. And it becomes a portal. It's a portal that you can either travel somewhere to, or it keeps you safe. You can heal within it. But I'm being shown by Merlin something similar, but it's like a tree. It's like imagining that you are within the tree. And that even if the tree falls, I'm being shown the little animals and the insects or whatever have been within the tree have a way of being able to find their way out of it, even when it's been put onto its side. There's something about the safety of being in the tree, literally in the tree, which of course I know isn't physically possible. So this must be something that's more like a meditative type thing. Also, if you ever find yourself out in nature alone, somewhere deserted, somewhere devastated, somewhere where there's no human interaction, there's no help, basically, there's no support, you're just stranded, you're alone, you're in the middle of nowhere. It's imagining that you are within the tree, and that the tree is keeping you safe, the tree is giving you shelter, that you and the tree are one, that as the tree is able to keep growing even through whatever is happening around it and remaining upright because it is supple enough and flexible enough, so too you are kept safe during whatever is going on. It's like a place of shelter. It's like a den. I'm being shown dens. He's showing me dens. Does that translate? Because the whole English and American language is, I'm constantly amazed at words that don't mean the same thing. But you know, the wooden den, the sticks, building a den out of sticks. It's basic survival. It's going back to like basic survival. Do you know how to build a shelter, is what he's saying. Do you know how to build a shelter? Everybody should know how to build a shelter. You should be teaching your children, do you know how to build a shelter? But you make it fun. You don't make it frightening. Where I live, near the New Forest, you often see people that have made little shelters. I think half the time it's probably children, or it's scout groups, or guides or whatever. It's just teaching children basic survival skills. So that's the first thing he's saying. The need to teach basic survival skills is imperative. Shelter, food, water, warmth. These are the prerequisites for life. And then, excuse me, and then he's showing me community. Fire. Do you know how to build a fire? He's saying. Do you know how to build a fire? You don't have matches. You don't have a lighter. You don't have a stove. Do you know how to build a fire? He's showing me the two, rubbing pieces of wood together, or flint and stone. I have to confess, Merlin, no, I don't know how to make a fire. I've seen it done. He says if you've seen it done, that's half the battle, because at least you've got a theoretical awareness in your head of what needs to do, that you need to do, that I need to pick up 2 sticks, I need to pick up 2 pieces of stone. He said, so it's like anything, you've got half the battle is done, but equally you can ask me to, you have to use breath as well, he's saying. Yeah, I remember that now. So like I'm seeing the 2 pieces of wood blowing into it, but he's saying you can use my breath to blow into it, yeah? So as you're breathing from a place of maybe exhaustion, but also your breath is carrying the energy of fear, maybe, that I have to get this fire lit, you can use my breath. And now I've got Merlin's dragon coming in. You can use the dragon's breath to breathe fire into that, to create the fire that you need for warmth or to cook your food. Okay, he's now showing me collecting water. Do you have something that you can collect water with that is that will hold the water? There's an old-fashioned children's rhyme here in the UK. There's a hole in my bucket, dear whatever, there's a hole in my bucket. Well, fill it, dear. What is that nursery rhyme? Because you don't want a hole in your bucket, basically. Hold on, maybe there's something in the nursery rhyme. There's a hole in my bucket. What is the meaning of there's a hole in the bucket? A deadlock. Hold on, guys. There's a hole in my bucket. Here we go. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, a hole. Then mend it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then mend it, dear Henry, dear Henry, mend it. With what shall I mend it, dear Lisa, dear Lisa? With what shall I mend it, dear Lisa? With what? With straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, with straw. The straw is too long, dear Lisa, dear Lisa. The strong is too long, dear Lisa, too long. Then cut it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then cut it, dear Henry, dear Henry, cut it. With what shall I cut it? Dear Lisa, dear Lisa, with what shall I cut it? Dear Lisa, with what? With a knife, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With a knife, dear Henry, dear Henry, a knife. The knife is too dull, dear Lisa, dear Lisa. The knife is too dull, dear Lisa, too dull. Then sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry, sharpen it. With what shall I sharpen it, dear Lisa, dear Lisa? With what shall I sharpen it, dear Lisa? With what? With a stone, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. The stone is too dry, dear Lisa, dear Lisa. Then wet it, dear Henry, dear Henry. Yeah, do you see what he's trying to say? It's like you have to have everything covered. It's not enough to have a knife if the knife is totally blunt. It's not enough to have a pile of rope if you've got nothing to cut the rope with. It's not enough to have a bucket if your bucket's got a hole. There's something in that. There's definitely something in that children's rhyme, which is basically saying unless you've got all bases covered, you're a bit screwed. So these are times where preparation is important, okay? Like I'm now being shown, back to my life here in the UK, it's just like if there was a power cut, okay, well, yeah, I've got candles. Okay, you've got candles. Have you got any matches to light them with? Oh, no, there's no matches in the box. I forgot to buy any. Or I've got a torch. I can put the batteries in the torch. Oh, I haven't used the torch for about 10 years. Oh, it's all got rusted old batteries in it. It doesn't work. That type of thing, okay? So it's not just enough to think, yeah, I've got that. It's like, have you checked that it still works, okay? Have you checked that if it doesn't work, there's something else that you could do? That type of thing, okay? And more than anything, what Merlin is saying is sharing. So thank you, Merlin. Let's pull a few dragon cards here now, talking about what guidance is there for people. And we've still got Merlin here with us. We've got the Four of Cups, okay, the Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups is a card of absolutely of sorrow, of loss, but it's also saying there is still a cup to drink from, okay? Excuse the pun, in terms of what we've just been talking about. There is still a cup to drink from. And interestingly, the cups in this deck are all set against a tree, okay? So I'm being reminded here of the tree of life. There is always another place to go. There is always another place to go. We've got the Fool card that's just come out. The Fool card is the completion of a cycle and the moving on to a completely new timeline, a completely new chapter of your life. So what it's implying is that when devastation and disruption happens and the old has gone, the old might literally have been washed away or burnt away, there will be a new beginning. You won't be able to necessarily see what that new beginning is yet, but you have to have trust and you have to have faith. And I rather like in this card, there's something like a little baby, I don't know what it is, a little baby tiger, or not sure what that animal's meant to be, but it's got that sort of puppy-like enthusiasm that I can and I will is what I'm hearing. I can and I will. Because never underestimate the strength of the human spirit, the survival instinct that is there as well. And actually, from that raw place, extraordinary new paths can be forged. You don't. It's corny, I know, but it's true. You don't know how strong you are until you have been placed in a position where you have to be strong. Okay, 2 more dragon cards, please. The 7 of Swords and the Tower. And the 10 of Cups. 7 of Swords. I'll just let the cards do the talking. The 7 of Swords is the cards of lies, trickery, deception, manipulation, skullduggery, and it's next to the Tower. So what's brought the Tower down? What's brought this disruption, this devastation, may very well be 7 of Swords energy. But whatever they do, whatever they try, we are the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is the community that will gather no matter what. No matter what attempt is being done to take people out. This is also psychological warfare as well, by the way. This isn't just taking away homes, livelihoods, etc., towns. This is psychological warfare. But we are stronger. We are stronger. 10 of Cups, community. Look at that. Northern Lights, 10 of Cups, the dragons. There's a baby dragon in the middle there. 6 of Pentacles is the next card. Giving and receiving. It's just... one more card. What goes... I'm just going to ask... I mean, I think I've pretty much interpreted it correctly, but let's just see. 7 of Swords and the Tower. And the Queen of Swords. Look at that card. I don't know if you can see it properly with my camera, but it's got snowdrops. Now, snowdrops in my country come in the springtime. They are the first sign of the lighter months to come after usually quite a dark, heavy winter. Think about that in terms of the symbolism of where we are right now in our world. It is dark, but the snowdrops are still coming. The snowdrops, though, that have come through this particular earth feel sad. They are honouring what has happened in the preceding months and times, but they've still come. And over them we have the Queen of Swords, and her sword is going through the dragon's egg. And the dragon egg is releasing not only the young dragon to come, but all these beautiful blue butterflies. What are butterflies? Butterflies are a symbol of transformation, liberation. And she's weary. This Queen of Swords is weary. This feels like the divine feminine energy as well. Weary. Weary at what is being witnessed in our world. Weary of the task, but still able to do it. And this feels like the final... This feels like after the battle. After the battle. Taking it into the energy of something like Hurricane Helene. This is the women that survive. Just channel it. These are the women that survive. It's like this raw strength, this determination to rebuild the nest. That everything that had divided them before, and this includes politics, this includes material possessions, is gone. There is just this determination that the dawn will come, that there will be a dawn, a new dawn, a spring. Spring will arrive. We will get through these months. But she's weary. This feminine energy is weary, crushed in many ways, but determined. What's that expression? That when you have nothing left to lose? Yeah, picking up that spirit. When you have nothing left to lose. Wow. 8 of Pentacles, let's get to work. 9 of Swords, don't be afraid. The Lovers, the card of choice. Knight of Wands, it's the youth, finding their voice, awakening. The Hierophant, what a beautiful card for the Hierophant. Look at that. Can you see that rainbow dragon? Beautiful, beautiful. There's nothing tainted in this Hierophant energy. Hierophant is linked to structures of control, law, government. It's beautiful. So something better will come. But right now, yeah, we're honouring where we're at. Okay, anything else I want to do in this video? I think I will just finish with a Christ consciousness card. Let's use the Christ light spray. Master Jesus. And I'm being taken back to the little boy holding his hand up. The energy of Jesus is saying, put your hand up. Just put your hand up and ask for help. Wherever you are, whatever is happening, however you're feeling. Because I'm now being shown a storm of emotion. You know, after the physical storm comes and then leaves, and maybe you return to your home, the maelstrom of emotions that come. So it's not just the physical storm; it's the emotional storm. It's dealing with the emotions, and in this deck, there's a card that talks about the moment. This one, faith over fear, Sea of Galilee, when the sea is whipping up and the disciples are afraid. And Jesus calms the sea, but he also rebukes the disciples because he said, you have the power to calm these waves too. But I'm seeing these waves now as the emotional waves. Okay, so after the storm has left, this is the emotions, heightened emotions, panic, terror, fear, hope, all of it entwined. So he's saying, I can help. I can help you calm and balance. We're in Libra season, your emotional field. I can do that for you, but I'm also going to remind you that you can also do it for yourself because you have this power within you. The card that came up was Joseph, interestingly. Oh, look at that, 2 Josephs. We've got double Joseph, but they're different Josephs. So something in the name Joseph. Let me just look up what the name Joseph means before we actually look at the 2 Josephs from the deck. Joseph, name meaning, because to have double Joseph is interesting. Joseph means he shall add, God shall add. God shall add. Okay. Means different things, of course, in different languages, but so the Hebrew version of Joseph means he will add, which comes from the Hebrew verb, which means to add or increase or repeat. So this is something to do with, because we've got double Joseph energy, Joseph the father of Jesus and Joseph of Arimathea. But Joseph means to add or to increase. So it feels as though there's a message coming through here, which is to do with, I'm getting the energy, if you put one step forward, you put one positive thought out, you do one thing to help another, then I am going to add to the abundance that will come to you tenfold. Yeah? Whatever you do that is positive, I will add to it. Because the law of the universe is that you chose to come here to this planet at this time. During times of peace, during times of disaster, during times of war, you chose it. And so we can't take away from you how you respond, because that's free will. But we notice every good action. We notice every good thought. We notice every loving intent. And when you do that, we will add to it. Yeah? So it's a bit like prayer. It's the power of prayer. If you send prayer out to a place, we will add to it. Yeah? We're already there, but your prayer has added to it. Where two or more are gathered in my name, it's that energy. So we've got double Joseph. Let's start with Joseph, the father of Jesus. This is to do with, it's the traditional male energy I was talking about before. It's the power of role modelling, leading the way. It's the father role model. It's the strong man. These are times where strong men are needed. Strong, good men are needed. And it's as though the masculine template, the masculine archetype has confused some men to the fact that they almost feel embarrassed to be a man. And this is, of course, wrong. The rise of the divine feminine doesn't mean that men are not needed. They are more than ever. Balance is required. So I just feel this strength of these men. It's a really beautiful thing. Many men are very good. And it's like reduced to tears. It's like these good men that live amongst us. It's time we honoured them. And they have so much to teach. And I've said this before, so much of the problems in our world right now is the absence of the masculine good energy that's there to teach and role model for the youngsters. But anyway, we've got this coming back. Look at him. There he is. He's teaching the young Jesus to climb a tree. And then we've got Joseph of Arimathea. I'm still really choked up with that energy. What is it? There's like a shaking of the tree. It's reminding men of their role. It's reactivating what has become offline in some men. It's reactivating. It's like a DNA thing, which is like the protector energy in masculine form. Because women, yes, can be protectors too, but it's the masculine energy of protection. And that's evolving and changing. It's needed. Let me use the Joseph spray. I'm really feeling this so strongly. So the Joseph spray actually says Divine Protector on it. Okay. Joseph. Just getting this energy of safety from Joseph. Humbleness. Building from the ground, building one brick at a time, carpentry, getting the nail, getting the wood, getting the hammer, remembering what's really important, building from the foundation up. These men are really impressive. Okay, so that's Joseph, Father of Jesus energy. Call on him. Call on him. Such a beautiful energy. It's so underused. Joseph of Arimathea, said to be the uncle of Jesus. He was said to have come to England and planted the holy staff at Glastonbury, which still flowers to this day. But he's about being the... In the context of what we're talking about in this video, it's about some of these people having to move to new places, plant a staff in new places, plant the staff in new places. The staff is you, is what he's saying. You are the staff. And wherever you plant your roots, new, holy, sacred ground can be found where you can be safe. If you're meant to stay on this planet right now through this ascension process, this awakening process, your soul contract is you came here to experience it, to maybe be challenged by it, to be displaced by it, but you're meant to survive it and thrive in it, you will. So again, the energy of Joseph of Arimathea coming through very strongly to help with that. Plant your staff. And he feels as though he comes in to help guide you to where you're meant to go. So trust where you're being prompted and plant the staff. And the staff needs to also be planted with the energy of peace, forgiveness, strength, compassion, and above all, love. I hope that helped, guys. Lots of love to everybody suffering. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Lots of love. See you all soon. Bye-bye for now. Bye.